as I head downstairs, I wanted to first mention that the the follows and the likes and the subscribes and all that. I'm not really into all that, so you're not going to hear me in the rest of my streams ask for subs and all that. And and hit that sub button if you find the content here interesting or useful to you. This is the last time I'm going to mention this in any of my streams, so with that, we'll get going. So first, I wanted to cover a little tip that a lot of people tend to overlook. When you place these lockers, they will have the word locker on the top of them. If you notice my pointer, when I hovered over the word, you can come in and name whatever you want to in there. And capitalization doesn't matter, the game is going to capitalize it anyway. And now you can label your various lockers that you put underwater. This also applies to the wall lockers. Get back inside real quick here. And as you can see here, I've named the medical locker, lead, ruby, teeth, the shark's teeth, etc. And also food and water. Now if you notice, some of these have colors on them. See, like the water is blue and the food is yellow. That's done when you again click on this. If you use the D-pad and come over to this button here, each time you press the A button, and I'm on Xbox One, by the way, it will cycle the color of the text for you. So that's quick tip number one there for naming your lockers. You cannot apply a label to these clear ones, the ones that have glass fronts. And it's unfortunate that it doesn't actually show you on the shelves what's in the locker. Definitely a shame. Next tip, if you see, a lot of people don't realize your pod here, pod number 5, spawns in this general area. However, it spawns in different places. And a lot of people will use this life pod as a point of reference when this point of reference actually can be in a different place in each game. A better point of reference would be this coral tube right over here, and I will show you how to use it in a moment. Somewhere around your life pod area, if you look, there'll be a U-shaped tube like this here, and it will have the end protruding up out of the water here like this. And this is always there in every game. It's always in the exact same position. So I tend to use this as a reference point. I also use the lower engine right down here for the Aurora as another reference point, and that way you can triangulate a position without using coordinates for those who don't like to use the coordinates tab. Now, for those of you playing Xbox One and you're curious about how to get coordinates, for those of you who actually want to use them, and I'm not judging. I use coordinates too at times, but I prefer to try to navigate the game without them. Oh boy, he's going to bother us. Yes, you are. Where'd you go? Let's go. Go away. Okay. Now, like I was about to say, if you wish to actually use coordinates, you need to press and hold the PDA button and then press X. and then you can press the PDA button again to make it go away. And that brings up the sidebar. And the reference point that you need to pay attention to is that camera world position. And that will give you the X, Y, and Z. So face directly north. Okay. And as I go north-south will be that last number going positive toward north, negative toward south. If I face directly east here, you can see that's the first number. Again, positive going east, negative going west. So you can use those coordinates to go to any spot in the game. Now you can use the world forward line, which is the third line, the second line below that world position line, to tell which direction you're facing without a compass before you get the compass chip. So 001 is north. $100 is east. South is 00 -1, and then west will be -100. And then the southwest, northwest, etc. will be 0.7s, which is halfway between those. So to turn that back off again, you hold the PDA button and press X button, and then you can close your PDA. So reference this coral tube, okay, as a position. A lot of people want to know where I got the coffee machines in my base. So if you look on the Aurora, see this fire right here? You want to move your circle right up here so that it just touches the end of the stripe on the Aurora. And you'll see if you have a compass, I'm just a little bit past one tick south of east. So we're going to head toward the Aurora. Let's get our sea light out here. And we're going to maintain that same direction. By the way, you can and probably should do this as soon as you can get a scanner built at the beginning of the game. That should be the very, very first thing that you build right out of your. Don't worry about anything else. Build that scanner very, very first thing. Now, when you get here, see this post right here that's sticking up? That's your landmark. And so here's the wreckage here. Okay, and the coffee machine is sitting right here. Scan that, and then you could build these back at your base. There is also almost always fragments for the beacon here, and there's almost always go away. There's almost always a fragment or two of the grav trap in here. I don't remember what was in this box. I remember there was something, but honestly I can't remember, and it may or may not be random. But this coffee machine has been here in this exact same spot every single game that I have looked for it here. And you can come here right straight out of a brand new game before the Aurora explodes, and there will be no radiation in this area, so you can get to this machine and the grav trap and the beacon before the Aurora explodes, and you have to build a rad suit. Oops, let's go back to the spot here, and then we'll come up. And you can see I'm 312 meters from my pod and 356 meters from the coral tube, so there's your references for distance. And then if we turn back east here, see we're fairly close to the aurora here. And again, I was aiming at this little patch right here, right before the stripe ends in that burnt area. I was aiming for that hot patch right there. And at night, you can see there's kind of a square here of the red fire. So that's your reference point for the coffee machine. Head back here. And other than some stalkers, you know, on the way, you're very, very clear of the Leviathan, so you shouldn't have any worries about that. We're at the base here.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
That's right. Show me some respect. See, I've got 3 built here. I did have many more here until I finished up my water filtration plant and others. But in the beginning of the game, start one of these. At the beginning of the game, you're constantly running out of water. Chasing fish and all that is not a whole lot of fun until you get the upgraded fins and whatnot. So this will give you a very, very cheap way to get a water supply. And we'll show you here on the tab. There he is. So you can see it only costs 2 titanium to build, so it's very, very inexpensive. Costs absolutely nothing to produce the coffee. See here the coffee supplies for water. It doesn't. Machine is simply not going to cut it. In fact, you will dehydrate faster than the machine. A single machine can produce water for you. So you'll want to build 4 to 6 of these on a wall somewhere in your base, and that will get you rehydrated. You can come down and start each machine. You don't have to sit here and wait. As long as you stay within your base, you'll get the coffee when it's produced. So you can see, even though I walk away when I get the coffee, or when the machine finishes, there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. So even though I wasn't standing there watching the machine, you can go be doing other things in your base while you get the coffee. I need to go get my sub, which I left out here, setting up for another stream.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Okay, let's bring her back to the base. Oops. And for those who haven't seen it before, that submarine is the Cyclops. It is literally a mobile base, and I'll take you in to show you that in a minute. So let's hop into one of the moon pools that I built, and I built 2 because I have the prawn suit and this that I wanted to dock. Now it doesn't matter when you come up into the moon pool which direction you face. I mean, you can be all cattywampus here, and as soon as you rise up, it will automatically point you to forward, relevant to the moon pool. Now, the next tidbit of information here is about the upgrades. Now, when you apply I can't remove these because I have stuff in them, But when you have these upgrades in your inventory here, when you hit A to apply them or assign them to the slot over here, it will assign them to this slot, then this one, then at first you'll probably only have one storage module to get started with, and I found it very frustrating initially trying to figure out where these spots were and where they would show up on the sub. And in every other instance dealing with vehicles, planes, cars, you name it, reference points on a vehicle are universally as you face the rear of the car like this. So, you know, if you were talking about the right side of the car, we're talking about over here. Well, in Subnautica, these points here are referencing left and right on the vehicle. However, it's not facing the rear of the vehicle, it's actually facing the front of the vehicle like this. So they're backwards from normal convention, as it were. So that upper right slot in the panel over there corresponds to putting a storage up here, and the upper left corresponds to putting a storage over here. And then I applied my depth upgrade in the slot that's over here, and then another storage on this side over here. And the reason for that is, as you saw, and I'll show you again, and this may seem completely normal to us folks here in the US, but maybe a little counterintuitive for you folks over in the UK and other countries that drive on the other side of the street. When you dock and get out, you exit the left of the vehicle, always, no matter what you do. So I put my storage, and the reason I wanted to know which of those slots were where, because I wanted the storage here on the side where I get out of the sub, because odds are I put stuff in there while I was out in the field that I wish to take out and utilize here in the base. And I didn't want to walk all the way around every time I got here to take stuff out of storage on this side. Now I did put storage up here. However, that is the storage that I use for when I'm out in the field, and it contains survival materials. I keep a locker in here so that I can store things. Keep a spare power cell for the sub itself in case I run low of energy, and then I keep a couple batteries in case I have an ion battery and a standard battery in here for tools out in the field, such as the repair tool, etc. And then I always bring a series of beacons with me, so if I drop this pod, I can drop a beacon by it and come back and pick it up anytime I want. I'll also throw in a nutrient block and a couple bottles of water and a health pack. So basically this is my kit for exploring and staying away from base here for an extended period of time. And I've got, you know, a way to heal and a way to eat and consume water. And then I have the two storage on this side for bringing things back that I have looted out in the world. Now you can see I have the second bay over here, and that would be for my prawn suit if it were here. Should have a bottle of water in here probably. Yep, it's all done. Okay, that's it. I just wanted to get a quick intro of the stream started, and get you a quick series of tips. do appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you next stream.